Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to President's Day. It's Monday, February 17th, 2025. It is 80 or 84 degrees outside. It's not 84 degrees. I've got 84% on my battery bank. It's 44 degrees outside at 7:16 a.m. And we're 3 miles outside beautiful Quartzsite, Arizona in the desert, boondocking, and I have the weather forecast for you. Today will be a high of 78 and a low of 50, and the wind outlook for the next week hasn't been looking so good, but suddenly it's looking pretty good. I don't have any days in the next 10 where I'm going to warn you about any significant wind activity. I think it looks wonderful. The other thing that's good was it was showing next week, for a little while, there was one day it was showing a high of 88 that peaked out on Thursday. Now they're bringing that down to 86, which is a little bit more manageable. 86 for the Tuesday and Wednesday next week. And then it's down to 84, 83, and back down to 82 and high 70s by the first couple of days of March. And I'm seeing, my friends, big old suns almost every single day for the next 10 days. And the ones that have clouds only have a few little tiny clouds. So great solar weather, great outdoor weather, mild winds, perfect temperature for Quartzsite. So that's what you're getting this week. I'm pretty excited about that. And I hope you are too if you're out here. And, you can live vicariously from us if you're like in Minnesota or South Dakota or somewhere where it's real cold and snowy. Speaking of that, Corrine Jarbo says it feels colder here than last year, but less rain. Definitely less rain. There's no question about that. There's been, the only rain we've gotten is a few drops at a time, maybe an hour of almost sprinkles, to the point where during the heaviest rain we've had this year, I really couldn't hear it on the roof of my rig. So that's nothing. That's a real problem here for the desert. And you say it feels colder here. Well, that's subjective, and that could be absolutely accurate for you. To me, it feels like last year was colder, but objectively, we could Google that and figure out who's right. I bet it's probably pretty close, but my sense was it doesn't feel as cold as it was last year. I just remember my friends routinely being really bundled up in winter coats when they sat outside because they were getting so frustrated waiting for it to get warm. So Cottywomple, who was he was in a video that I released yesterday, that a lot of people enjoyed. So check out that video from yesterday. He says, here's the thing on saying things to people. In person, people have a filter, generally before they speak. Those that have not too good a social filter will blurt it out, then realize after it wasn't a good idea, right? They'll not think, blurt it out, see the reaction and go, whoops. In text and post, the no filter is out the door and not a thing. You think about it as you type it. It's different in that manner. So text and post aren't an oops thing. It's intentional. And I think I agree with that. In the moment, it's intentional, but you can be upset in the moment and type something that if you took some reflection, you wouldn't. How do I know this? I've done it. Even recently, I got a nasty comment, and my response to it was almost as nasty. And I had to get back in there in the comments and go, you know what? My comment was not acceptable. It was unkind. So in that moment where emotions ran high, and I did have a few minutes to think about it, it was intentional. Quartzsite, I'll agree with you. It was absolutely intentional. But one of the keys here online in responding to a friend's text even, or an email, I think we all know this, that if we wait a little while, we get the response that we're more comfortable with in the long term. The hard thing to do is when we do it too quickly and we realize we made a mistake. What many people have a hard time doing is owning that and trying to make it right. It's a little embarrassing, isn't it? Yeah. Old man 52, Rob, you give whiny people too much airtime talking about them. Consider the source. They are troubled individuals. And I said, I agree. It's tough when people complain about my appearance and content in my videos. I'm mystified that they just don't watch other creators. Ed Godby says, I think there is a book out there that is titled 50 Yards to the Outhouse. Arthur is Willie. Make it illustrated by Betty Don't. I think there's some typos in there, so I just typed some question marks in to see if Ed could go in there and fix the typo so I could really understand. I even Googled 50 Yards to the Outhouse, and it's definitely a book, but I didn't really understand the context very well. Tamara Lemon, I'm proud to wear my cat's hair. After all, she is my boss. Am I wearing any cat hair? Yep. There's one right there. There's one there. Yep. Tamara. That's great. Chris and 2 Shih Tzus. That's right. Beautiful story on the no clue this was a thing. And this was the positive news story about the child and the dog with the cleft palates. It's a good positive news story. Vicky Rutherford says, I have 2 cats like George and 2 cattle dogs and have eaten a lot of dog, cat, and horse hair. It doesn't bother me except human hair grosses me out. Well, I don't have a big problem with that. If you don't like dog, cat hair, don't come to my house. I'm very particular about keeping hair out of my kitchen. But, hey, no need to be mean. You'd be surprised what we eat out. Yeah, you're probably right. Rochelle Ritchie Rockstar says, exactly. And that's an old short I did that I called The Cost of Being in the Wrong Job. And that person appreciated that. Tom Frost says, I need a life. It's currently freezing in Buffalo, New York. Oh, I can feel you, man. I grew up in Rochester, an hour from you. That lake effect snow. Anyway, I bet it's your right hip that needs replacing. Correct. I was told by an orthopedic surgeon that it's years of getting in and out of left-sided driver's vehicles. I wonder why that would be. I'm wondering if the opposite is true in right driver cars. We'll have to check the stats in London on hip replacements. Tamara Lemon says, glad you got to meet Phil's new pup, babe. She is so sweet and cuddly, really. And Phil is Cottywomple. And the video is LTVA South e-bike tour with a viewer guest. And Phil, or Cottywomple, is the guest. And his new puppy. Ken Gray on No Clue This Was a Thing on the Cleft Palate story says, lovely story. Barbecued. Hey, Robert, loved e-bike video. The main reason I went to Quartzsite was to buy one. It took all my willpower to wait for the big tent and the electric folks. I'm so glad I waited. I got a great deal. What tire pressure do you recommend? I can't remember, but I think it was around 20. And I think it was for my old bike. I think the recommended regular was 28, and I lowered it to 20. But I'd say do what you're comfortable with. Do 5 or 10, 5 PSI at a time until you get where you feel it's comfortable. You don't want to do too much. Or you may want to Google it and get smarter people than me to tell you. That's what I'd do. Computer Blue. Thanks for sharing. I just purchased an electric e-bike and they asked where I got my idea from. Told them it was your videos. Can't wait to ride it out there in the desert next fall. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And it's a godsend for me with my hips, so I can get around. I can buzz around the desert comfortably without being in pain. Adventures of Gypsy and something. this was awesome. Thanks for taking us along. That's the same video. These are all the e-bike videos. James P, thanks for showing us around on your e-bike. I have 2 of the electric e-bikes, a cruiser and a 2.0. I like the 2.0 the most and will be taking the 2.0 with me on my journey. RV Life, I did the exact same thing with my electric bike. Got the first model 5 years ago. That's when I got my first model. And they made the light version. I jumped on it and gave the 65-pound one to my brother. I gave the 65-pound one to a guy that camps near here. He ultimately sold it because it was too heavy trying to put the bike in the rack. I love my e-bike. Cottywample's back. I mentioned Wiki Up in one of your videos. One of your viewers had that in their name. I didn't realize it was an actual place. Yeah, that viewer was at the meetup. It was funny because I was having trouble trying to figure out how to pronounce the name or what it was, and it was the lake. But I found Wiki Up after I picked up Babe and Kingman and was on my way back to my new tent, to pick up my new tent. That was an eventful day because of gaining a new friend and also the tent. So he got his new tent. It's a great, well, you saw it on the video. It's a great tent. Stephen Gashi says, regarding the $500 rule requirement for campers with no holding tanks, are there vault toilets in the 14-day area? No, they don't have that. Well, I was going to say they don't have vault toilets nor that rule. It would make no sense to have that rule if they have no vault toilets. The vault toilets here are artifacts of the LTVA, and the BLM lands around Quartzsite do not have vault toilets. So I wanted to be careful. I said that intentionally because there are BLM areas that have campgrounds and they have vault toilets and things, but just not here, only the LTVAs. Haas, hey Rob, I have a total of 12 pets, 8 cats and 4 dogs that live together in harmony. We call that stuff on our clothes love fuzz. Oh, another commenter was asking about hawks bothering dogs or pets. I have security cameras around my house, and a couple years ago I was wondering the same thing. So I started checking out my security video a little closer, and one day I found a clip of a hawk swooping down to catch a rodent or something in the backyard. One of my big female cats was lying in wait, jumped up about 6 feet, caught the hawk, and another one of my cats joined in and dragged it into the woods. Yikes. So the hawk wasn't much of a threat, was it? Ken Gray says, when JT said your videos are an antidote for watching the news, I shuddered. I refuse to watch news. It makes me depressed. Well, that's why I do the positive news videos every single day, and I start my day that way. Ken, having confusion in the comments could be a symptom. He's talking about me being, just the past few days I've been reading certain comments and going, I don't understand. I just bewildered. And Ken is suggesting it could be a symptom of constant pain. It gets difficult to think the longer you have to deal with pain. Let's see if it clears up after surgery. You're doing great. And I told him, you could be right on that. Ken says, Babe is precious. That's the new puppy. Ken says, I remember you wiping out on a tight turn in Pahrump. Yeah, I did. On the mobile RV suction pumping service, I did a short for a local guy here that comes out here and will do your tanks. Boot 76, I hired this man for services a few times while I was out there. It was greatly appreciated. Robin Goff says, when my mom moved from New Jersey to Washington State, she flew, but everything else came by semi, including her car. She had a small Fiat Pop, and she had them put in the truck with everything from her house. Thank you for showing the Homer Simpson note. She had a small Fiat Pop, and she had them put it in the truck with everything from her house. Fiat Pop. Don't know what that is. Okay, maybe it's the pain. I'm confused again. But if it makes sense, Ken will jump in there and explain. Maybe it's some kind of a pop-up camper, maybe? I don't know. Is it a car? Enjoyed your video, Connie Waddle said. Thank you, Connie. Rob Hev says, I had not seen you in a while, so when I saw the thumbnail for this video, I went, holy cow, look how long Rob's beard got. Then I looked closer and watched the video and realized it's a subscriber named Phil. Phil's puppy is adorable. Kathy Weber, I absolutely adored seeing Baby, the new puppy, so precious. I'm still waiting to get my rescue. I might get 3. They need to be small doggies. Great video. Thanks so much. What has been the coldest temps you've had down there? Do you ever bring Dottie with you? Like have a basket on the bike so you can put her in it. Sometimes let her run beside you as you go real slow. Let's see. There's the coldest temps were a couple mornings where it got down to about 32. Those were the coldest. And Dottie, I have a trailer on the bike that Dottie rides in. She loves it. I don't do it too often because usually she doesn't love the ride. So I usually use it when I'm going to a destination and spending some time there so Dottie can be with me. But she rides in the little Electric makes a trailer. In some of the shots in the front of my when I'm working around my trailer, you can see my trailer. You can see her trailer parked outside. Let's see. Kathy Weber says, I just subscribed to the Dan Van channel. Good. Thank you. I'm sure Dan appreciates that. Kathy Weber says, too tight of a turn can make you wipe out on e-bike. Sounds like a motorcycle. I have a Harley and have ridden it 3 times cross country from Washington State. Me and my husband on our bikes. I have not gone down. Yay. Definitely yay on that. Pamela Knoll says, what's the major reason more Americans are not there in February? Fees are so reasonable, weather so great. A little tougher for Canadians because of travel, health insurance costs in exchange of the money. Well, sort of when you don't compare to other times, there are a lot of people here. I mean, there's still thousands and thousands of people here camping in a little small town of 2,500 people, Quartzsite, Arizona. But the comparison is to really January, and it's the events in January, the big tent, the Rock and Gem show. These things draw people in, and that's why there's so much more in January. But there's still, you saw my video. There are quite a few people still around. It's just a lot less. Help me retire soon, 5972. Nice to see more of the place on an e-bike. That was very nice. It says it was very nine, but I can tell that's a typo. He meant very nice. AR Zoe 225 has smiley faces and Nomad Aaron's video. Stacy Jones says on the cleft palate video, love the story. Thanks for sharing. Dame the First, did your doctor say how long before you can drive? There's no set thing on when you can drive, but I'm thinking a couple of days probably I'll be able to drive, because what he said was that your total recovery time can be 2, 4, even 6 weeks, but that's getting back to where I was before the issue happened 2 years ago. He said as far as mobility and sensation, you're going to see an improvement over that the first day. You see the difference there? That I'm going to feel better and more mobile than I am now after a day after the surgery. So, but you'll get an answer to that question, because I'll be doing daily videos like this when I'm recovering, and I'll be talking in detail about my recovery. A cat named George was today's video, and it wasn't my George, but it was a cat named George. And Lena says, can't believe no staff took that sweet boy home, but obviously it was meant for another nursing home. Chris, and she says also, so that's Cotty Wample. Nice to put a face to a name. And Babe is just a darling, beautiful pup. And that is all the comments for today. We have it's a nice length, 20 minutes for a comment video. Today is Monday. It's President's Day. I have to go into town and get hamburger meat and frozen vegetables for Dottie's food. We're at the 15-day mark since the last time, so we're going to do that. And maybe I'll make the video. I'll actually show the process of making the food, vacuum sealing it, just for anybody that might be interested in how I do it. So that might be fun, but I was thinking maybe I would, I haven't done it in a while, take the action cam and put it on the hood of the car so you see that beautiful view of the drive. And then when I get to places, I can pop it off the hood, stick it on my chest, and take you into the grocery store with me when I buy the meat. So I think that'll be today's video, and I'll probably be able to get that up sometime mid to probably late afternoon or so. So that's everything. I'm hesitating to say goodbye because I don't want to go. I want to hang around for more, but there are no more comments. Oh, there's another one just came through 5 seconds ago from RV Life. Unbelievable story. Thanks. That's a cat named George. Number 339 positive news. We're at 339. I'm getting closer and closer to that 365th positive news video, which means I've done a positive news video every single day for an entire year. I've been really looking forward to that. They still don't they get enough views. I think I said, and this is true, even if I didn't get views, I'd still do them because they start my day off so well. So if you're curious to how many views they get, yesterday's got 154. The one before that got 99. The one before that got 178. One before that, 208. I'm just going down in days past. 360 was a big one. 250. So you know what? I didn't realize this. I haven't looked back on this. 130. It's growing. It's growing. More and more people are watching that. It's been a very slow, steady increase. Because if I go way back, let me flick this back here, a couple months ago. Actually, what I should do is I can go into my channel, and there's a category called positive news under playlists. Where's positive news? So if I go way back on there, like in the 100s, oh, you know what? This listing does not show the number of views. I'd have to go into each one. So let me go back to the old list. Let's just flip back all my videos back to in the 200s, 85, 166, 139, 75, 138, 90. So you can see there's been a steady increase in the viewership of those. So that's kind of heartwarming. Anyway, you can tell I didn't want to leave. I found something to talk about. But I will see you. I'll have more to talk about tomorrow. I'll have more to talk about in today's video. Just in a real good mood today. It's a nice day. I'll see you on the next video you watch. I'm grateful that you do watch me. Thank you.